let's definitely talk about this, man. So you said that you're glad J. Cole did not respond to Kendrick. Why you say that, man?
Cause I didn't want to see it, bro. Like I didn't want to see that. I didn't want to see that. I didn't want to see that, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
I didn't want to see it. It's like that's like watching.
yeah.
That's like watching Ali and Tyson go at it. Like I don't want to see that much blood. Like
I don't even really
uh
want to win right now.
yeah, like
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. It's like I don't want somebody to lose. Yeah, 100.
correct. I don't want us to have an official winner, and I know neither one of them gonna stop until there is a winner and a loser.
Well,
Cause
I think,
Cole
and
say it all the
so,
time in his music.
mhm,
It's like, yeah,
yeah,
I'm the greatest. Like Cole's always calling himself a great. So it's like, all right, and the rest of I ain't gonna lie, I'd have been looking at it like, yeah, you gonna have to prove it now. You started it,
yeah.
prove it. And
I
Kendrick,
think
we
the
see who
reason.
Kendrick is. So
Oh yeah, I think we see who both are. I mean, they're. I mean, to me personally, those are my top two. If I'm talking about who's really running the game when it comes to talent, I think hands down both of them they have it on lock. But I think the reason I didn't want to see it was because I felt. I mean, I did want to see it. I did want to see it only because I thought it was like a friendly banter competition type of thing. Until I saw what Drake and Kendrick were saying about each other, I was like, ah. I was like, I don't think that's and I like what J. Cole said. I mean, I saw him at one performance. He was responding because a lot of people were saying that he was, basically ducking or like running away from the smoke. And they said that, you know, and he got up there and he was just like explaining the situation. He said the reason he didn't respond is because he felt that, like, it would have been wrong with his spirit because of the types of things that they probably would have said. And that couldn't have been more that couldn't have been the most real thing. People know like fans who are not just going to listen to someone just because they like what they was it they like
the
chaos, they like
mainstream.
problems. Oh, ooh, he said that. Ooh, I don't listen to music because of that. I listen to that because I listen to it because, like, was it clever? Were you talking about something that mattered, or were you just yelling, "Get money, go smoke, get women"? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to hear all that. So when he said that, it was like it was real. It was like that's a nice person. That's a genuinely good person saying, "I'm not trying to get into this with you because, like I said, you are my boy, and I'm not. And I know that for like the masses, I could say some stuff about you, but then when I say it, I'm gonna regret everything I said because it started something. You know what I mean? So
Correct.
I respected it, and I'm a Kent like, and this is coming from a Kendrick fan who I believe it's like this. I think it's Kendrick and J. Cole right here. But that's just like I said, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I know
it's
that
your
yeah,
opinion. You're
I think
entitled to it.
yeah. I know you like J. Cole though, and I love J. Cole. Like I said,
Facts.
it's my top two, so I listen to them back to back, but I listen to them in that order, unfortunately.
I mean, I don't
For
skip either guy, but
yeah,
yeah, I got
yeah,
them opposite. I got Cole one, Kendrick two. But like I said,
yeah.
Kendrick killing it right now. So it's like if Kendrick ain't win right now, fight back. Like
Right.
fight back. But
I
nah, they
mean,
both great at what they do as artists. And like you said, when I'm listening, I'm not listening for are you better than this person? Are you better? No, I'm listening like what are you saying? What are you talking about? How did you say it? I'm
exactly.
listening for the alliterations, the assonance, the onomatopoeias. I'm hearing the repetition. I'm hearing the way you breaking words down, right? So I
Right.
hear it up to the syllable. So it's like do 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 do, right? So
Yeah.
I think the more creative you can be in all of that, the better the artist you are. And then when you build an image with all those different pieces, yeah, you a true artist at that point. Like you tactical. You understand words very very well. You can break them down and build them up. So I think they both really really good at what they do. Most of the world think they good at what they do based on their popularity. So I'm not throwing any rocks at either.
Exactly, man. And so, I mean, if we're gonna, you did say Kendrick is popping right now. He's doing his thing. Um,
Correct.
did you? Did you see the Super Bowl halftime?
Indeed, indeed, I did.
What do you think about it, man?
I think that just saying it, Kendrick made a statement, bro. Like Kendrick, to anybody who could hear it, Kendrick made a statement.
Exactly.
It felt like it lasted a decade, bro. Maybe it's just me, and with me sitting there loving music for what it is and the choreography, right?
Mhm.
Everything together. I love to see because I think that's an art too that get lost in performances and music is the choreography, right? That's what Michael Jackson made his paycheck was the choreography, the dancing, because nobody could do it like Mike, right?
Right.
But back to Kendrick, the choreography. If you pay attention to how it's choreographed with what song is choreographed with, the message, man, the message. It was a sight for sure, for sure. Um,
I can't agree with you more, man.
as an artist, I love the picture painted. I think it was a very clear picture. Um, so I'm just the way it was painted without saying, you know, an actual word about the overall picture, but you understood very clearly what was being said.
100%, man. And well, have you seen the videos of uh so I will say they're funny to me, but the videos have been dropping of people saying like how they're saying conservative, how conservative people watch how they perceived the Super Bowl halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like all they could hear was like I can't even say the word on on the recording, but it was funny because it was like to a lot of people, all they could hear was like rap music, rap music, rap music, rap music. They weren't hearing anything that he had to say. They weren't even. They were so lost. Like, what is he talking about? And then the word they did hear is like, oh, I don't like that, you know. So yeah, I agree with you, man. And like I said, I'm a big Kendrick fan. I will say his last album, me personally, I wasn't a big fan of. I do think it's good, but it's just not my cup of tea. Uh, I'm more of like older Kendrick stuff, like the Kendrick stuff that I grew up on, like Good Kid, Mad City, Section 80. Um, One of my favorite albums was To Pimp a Butterfly. So, um, that being said, though, you know the type of songs I like. So those are the type of songs I wanted to hear him perform at the Super Bowl, and he did it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, my first reaction, obviously, I mean, anyone who I think is educated, like with how the world is, or anyone who is takes the blinder off and is actually looking outside and paying attention to what's going on in the world, I think you had an idea of what he was talking about. Um, but like I said, I'm a big Kendrick fan, so I wanted him to play some songs that I could vibe to, you know, that I'm listening to, and I wanted entertainment, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's not what I got, you know. So when he performed, I was after he performed, it took me. I had to process. I was like, man, it's like why didn't he do this song? Why didn't he do this song? Why didn't he perform this one? Like these would have had the people going crazy. Well, that's because he didn't. That's not what he was there for. Like you said, he was there for. He was there to make a statement,
I
and
was
there were some
talking to a
people who
guy at
didn't
work.
like it.
Oh, my bad.
No, you good. Go ahead.
I was talking to a guy at work before the halftime show, and I was like, what if he performs poetic justice, but he only performs his part? And I was like, would that be trolling? Right? Because like you saying, that's the same type of Kendrick. I'm like, yeah, just give me a quick vibe real quick before we, because you knew Kendrick was coming with a message, right? So
Oh yeah,
it was
poetic
that.
justice would
It
have
was
been
that.
crazy. He said, and SZA
Right,
was right
right.
there. SZA was there.
Bro,
You know what I mean? She could have
bro,
in. It would have been
bro.
crazy.
That would have been crazy, bro. Oh my,
Yeah.
that would have been the troll of 2025 thus far. But
Yeah,
he
man.
spared him. He spared him.
Yeah, man. So
But
I mean, like I said, it was beautiful. There was outside of just his like what he was doing, there was a lot of symbolism in there, man. So much. The biggest one to me that stuck out was This man had Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Tom, bro. Do you know how clever that is, bro? That is
Correct.
perfect. That is
Correct.
perfect. You couldn't have found a better person to play Uncle Tom, man.
Uncle
Crazy.
Sam.
Oh yeah, Uncle Sam. Whoa, I'm talking about Uncle Tom, like freaking what they call Uncle
Yeah.
Tom.
That's what he was being.
Yeah,
No,
he
that's
was,
what he
bro.
was
You
being,
said
bro. He
Uncle
was
Tom
Uncle
and Sam.
Sam being an Uncle Tom, yeah. And if you ever
100.
seen Django, for those of you who've seen Django, it only makes it that much better. Like it's so many layers
Man.
to this, guys. And he didn't say a word. All he did was put a person in a costume. That's it.
He
No
said
words were
too.
said about it.
He said too ghetto. Like, that was, yeah, man. So yeah, what you think? What did you think about that? I mean, you just kind of got hyped with me too when you saw him, but like, what was your initial thought as soon as you saw him come across the screen and he's like, "It's me, Sam," or
My
something like
initial
that?
thought was this is this is the Boondocks version of Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah, I can see
Like
that too for sure.
this is Uncle Ruckus, right? And so when he's like,
Mhm.
I'm Uncle Sam, it's like, cause you're Samuel. Okay, okay, all right. But you also
Yeah,
played in Django, and you were the one Uncle Tom, right? So all these uncles, he's showing you all these different relations too, and literally all he did was put a man in a costume. And then if you actually listen to everything Sam says, it gets even more in depth, right? Um,
like what? What
cause
was he
like when he
saying,
said
man?
two, like when he said too ghetto, right? What happens? SZA comes out, and again, I don't know if it was on purpose, but there is this big thing, and I'm pretty sure Kendrick being Kendrick, it was on purpose. There's this big thing about the lady in red. So what was SZA dressed
Mm.
in? All red. The lady in red is used as a distraction, right? That's why she's called the lady in red. She's going to go distract those who need to be paying attention to their work, right? Typically men. So with SZA being the lady in red, after he says too ghetto, guess what? She's the distraction. Look at how she starts on stage. And then she's singing elegantly, right? Because you don't want to be ghetto. And then what did
Yeah,
Kendrick do? He switched it, right? So
yeah,
it was so it was very artistic. Very artistic.
yeah, man. That was, I mean, that's really what it was when yeah, when he was like too loud, too ghetto, tighten up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like it was like his performances were in response to what Uncle Sam was saying. Um, but I mean, these are coming. I mean, we're both minorities. We're both African American, Afro Latino. That being said, there are certain things that we have heard about our communities from other communities, such as that, like, oh, too loud, too ghetto. You know what I mean? Too aggressive. That was another one. Very aggressive, right? And so I mean, he was the physical embodiment of people who say that about our communities. And then his response was, yeah, okay, all right, let me slow it down a little bit. Because yeah, he got riled up. Then he slowed it down a little bit, and then he got riled up again. So it was powerful, bro. I loved it. I loved Uncle Sam's depiction, or I loved Samuel Jackson's depiction of Uncle Sam, man. It was beautiful to me.
That's probably one of my favorite Super Bowl halftime performances in recent memory. Like the only
Yeah,
one I got that's even close is the Rams Super Bowl with all the LA greats coming out. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
that's why
And
it's
Kendrick
all the LA
again.
greats. Yeah, so
Yeah.
but other than that, it's like this one is it's gonna be hard to top for sure. I don't care who you are. Cause even if you go out there and you dance to performing, the message, man, the message was so freaking loud, so freaking strong, and it was so beautiful the way it was done. And
Yeah.
me and one of my coworkers, we was talking about, bro, if you ever go to a Kendrick show, he's not doing a whole lot of running around and all this. Kendrick was moving, and like I said, it felt like it lasted a decade, right?
Right.
But it was a matter of minutes. But he was saying so much, even with what they were wearing. Like if you paid attention to the dancers, they were dressed in red, white, and blue.
In blue. Mhm. That's my next spot. That's my next point here, man. You saw when they lined up in the formation of the American flag.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, I did just send that to you because I wanted you to look at it too right now. But yeah, man, powerful, 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 man.
Send it to the
So
other one.
yeah, I got you.
But
But yeah, man, well, there was a lot, man. And so and then we're gonna talk. Obviously, we're gonna talk about it because what I don't the point of it, and we can both agree that it was a statement, right? Basically, just calling out that he
mhm.
sees the injustice of what's going on. He sees that there are certain individuals who think that we don't know what's going on, but we do, and it's spark. This is the spark to change. That we're going to pay attention to these different things they don't think we're looking at, but then also like there's so much that we could do. But what I didn't like was that at the very end of it, he did perform the song of like the year, this year and
We
last.
all knew it was
Uh,
coming. Yeah.
right, performing "Not Like Us" and cool, very cool. All right. The point, I guess, it did kind of make everyone like, "Oh, he said it." Especially the way he brought it up was cool because when he talked to his dance, like the three female dancers, and he was like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna perform that one song that they like," and he's like, "What?" And then the beat went dun 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 dun, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "Oh yeah, that song." He said, "But they like to sue." And then he performed a different like little bit, and then came back and actually performed "Not Like Us" for real. So I like the way he did it, kind of teased at it, like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do it," and then he did it anyway. I still knew he was gonna do it. I think everyone knew he was gonna do it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but after the video, or after the performance, so many people were like, "Oh, like he's lame," or they liked that he did that. But that almost like that song took the show for him. So all they could focus on was like, "Man, I bet Drake is like mad as heck." And I'm like, dude, I don't care about what Drake's
That's
thinking.
not how he ended it though. He ended it,
Right,
turn the TV off. Right?
right,
And that was, but
right.
they was already checked out by then, right? Because
Yeah,
they had already got they not like us. So then he's like, turn the TV off, and that's how he
right.
walked out. So, but to the people who just watching it for the Drake or the what popped off this year, whatever the hit song. Once they got the "They Not Like Us," they had everything they needed. That was the only song they needed the whole time. They was waiting the whole halftime show for this specific song.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think Kendrick knew that too, though. I think he knew that too.
yeah. I mean, I think that was the one like I'll do it for you. You know what I mean? But that did just because he did the one thing for you does not mean that was the show. The show was not like they not like us. That was not the show. The show was
Correct.
there's a problem. There's so many things going on in society that are incorrect, racism and just like the political tension, which was interesting. He did the nod at Trump where he was like, this is a revolution. This is the right time, but you chose the wrong guy. That was a crazy statement to me, especially when Mr. Trump himself is in attendance. So yeah, man, it was. This is not a political podcast, but it shows you that quite a few things can get political with the quickness.
I'm just looking at because when I heard that, I was like, you can kind of. This is my opinion, guys, but you can kind of see it coming. Where it's like when there were revolutions in times past, like the French Revolution, right? Like what happened? What was the reason? The Boston Tea Party started a revolution. Why? Taxes. So what's like overall, no matter what class you're in America, everyone's kind of starting to complain about taxes and what you do when taxes get too high. So I'm not saying it's coming anytime soon. I'm not saying it's far away, but I am saying that history has pattern that it likes to repeat, and revolutions are kind of part of that pattern. So,
Hmm.
not saying that everybody will like everybody has to be part of a revolution. It's just these things typically happen. Now, the way they happen can be different, but change is normal.
Yeah, man.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it there.
Think that's
I
pretty
don't want
safe.
anybody pointing
Yeah.
at me like he said that we should. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I never. Those were
Yep.
not my words.
We'd have to get the computer out with some facts because some people want to argue. Like, all right, well, with this political industry, like, oh yeah, man. So, yeah, man, great performance, but great statement, great message overall. But it wasn't just about the music. For me, it was a very apparent, very obvious display of the power of your voice. Um, and I loved it. I do love when people take advantage of their platforms, specifically celebrities that use their platforms um, to kind of be like a beacon of what they believe in. I love that. I think that it's important to do. I think it's important that everyone speaks up for what's going on, what's going wrong in the world. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think about people using their platform when it comes to these things?
That's what you're supposed to do. That's why you there, right? I think
Yeah.
that you fight and you claw and you do all these things to try and get to where you think you want to be, and then you get there, and some people just turn their back on what got them there, or they frown on the community that got them there, right? And that community helped make you who you are, right? For better or for worse. And so for you to not want to help that community back, I think it says something about who you are as a person. So,
Okay.
um, as far as me, the way I think
I
of
like that.
people using their platform is like, what are you bringing attention to? I think that's the biggest thing.
Gotcha.
What about you?
You had said that you feel like that's what you're supposed to do. Um, so
Correct.
do you feel like once you reach a certain level of success like that, say you're in front of a television, you have access, your platform has to do with you seeing millions of people, right? Whatever you say or do is going to be heard or seen by millions of people, billions maybe. Um, you feel like you have a responsibility then
Correct.
to kind of speak for
Cause every word I say matters to somebody who I never even thought about, right? So
them.
to little Tommy in no name, no, you know what I'm saying, rural area, nothing, don't have nothing going for him, right? I'm speaking to that kid too, who somehow is watching me on their friend's television, right? Because they don't have
Yeah.
one. So yes, I have a responsibility to let little Timmy know that guess what, little Timmy, I didn't have the most favorable circumstances either, and look at where I
Mm,
ended up. Now I'm not saying I'm
okay.
better than you. I'm not saying you're as good as me either, right? We are who we're meant to be, whoever we are meant to be. But I want you to
Yeah.
understand that if you just be who you are, you'll be further than where you currently are today, right? You just got to be
What you
true to
mean
you,
looking up to me? Mm,
right? So,
yeah.
like for me, I look at bro, small town, rural area, uh, what five A school technically. Um, a lot of people don't make it out of this small town. Like it ain't nothing crazy. Uh, yeah, it's just an uphill battle. Vienna sausages are normal. Spam is normal. Any type of bean and rice is normal. You know what I'm saying? Cornbread normal. Like they laugh at Louisiana for being country and all this stuff. Like, yeah, this is where we eat wild game. Like this is that part. So it's like, yeah, wherever you see me at, remember I've always been that person who started there. So if I started in some hillbilly no name town, right, and I end up wherever I end up, say you start off in New York. Look at how much opportunity you have that I didn't have. And I think that's another beautiful thing too, is that people don't look at the opportunity they have in bigger populations. Cause now there's
Right.
a higher probability you could find somebody who likes what you like. whether that be music, right? And you never know who has what type of spotlight or what type of power. But if you have that position, it's your job to empower your community, whatever community that is. Whether you see it as a black community, a white community, a rich community, a poor community, a mindset community, whatever you define your community to be, however you define it, is you have a responsibility to those people because they're the ones
That's
holding you up.
hmm, that's a great way to look at it, man. I don't think a lot of people do realize. I don't think a lot of people look at it in that same sense, but that's a very, very good perspective for sure, man. And I'm gonna give you a scenario though.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a few years ago with the whole George Floyd situation, um, tragedy, absolutely horrible. But it was, I mean, it was clear that it was definitely, definitely one of the points to talk about when it comes about racial injustice. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but let's say in this scenario, they decide they want to go up to to whatever black artist and ask him about what he thinks about the topic, and his answer is no comment. And every time they ask him about the issue, his answer is no comment. Do you feel that he is denying his responsibility to speak or denying the responsibility that you feel he has?
It depends on what he doing with his music and what he doing in the community, right? Because when he go on camera, it's business at the end of the day, right?
Okay,
He might view it as his platform, but it's still a business. So you
very
say
true.
something wrong, businesses get rid of you because you're a bad asset at that point. So and he still has a family to
Okay,
feed. But if I prefer as an artist, if I go no comment, but then you see me in the community, I'm volunteering, I'm helping, I'm doing what I'm marching with, then okay, you here fighting it with us. So you don't gotta tell me you with us.
right.
I see you beside me.
Yeah.
But if
Mm. The whole
it's
actions speak
not
louder than words.
correct. So it's like, yeah, I keep saying no comment, and yeah, they gonna make sure that go viral because they don't want me to be a valuable asset anymore, and that's okay because my community know that I'm a real asset. That whether I got this money or not, whether I got this position or not, whether I got this whatever power you think you giving me or not, they the ones who decide if I have it or not. So if I don't have it on your network, that's cool. But guess what? If another network pick me up, they coming with me because they support me because I support them. They know me. They got me because they know I got them. And that's just the way that works. So we can write up
Yeah.
all the contracts, we can write up all the deals or whatever. But at the end of the day, we people. We not pieces of paper with agreements. We people. So at the end of the day, you can go back on your contract. But if I got my people behind me, it's not gonna matter because every dollar you were thinking that you were getting out of me was coming from them. So they coming with me. Because we're a team. Because we started this together. Because we was there before you showed up, right? So like real Kendrick fans, they was there during the mixtapes. So if Kendrick get kicked off the map right now, it don't matter to them because Kendrick still got the bars. Same with Jay Z fans, he still got bars, right? So it don't matter how far down he go, they gonna be riding with him till he go out, and then they'll be saying how he's gonna go back to the top, right? He could only drop mixtape after mixtape after mixtape, and they're not gonna care because they're fans of the product, they're fans of the person, they believe in the product, they believe in the person, right? So they gonna be there. So yes, he has a responsibility to them because they've given what they've given to him. So yeah, and it's not always because I would much rather an artist say no comment, but you out here, you marching with us, you fundraising with us, you doing all this stuff to help the community, you showing it, than an artist to go and give me what they call it, political,
Like propaganda?
like not propaganda, but like you downplay it just for like media purposes, where it's like, oh, I just want to say that
Yeah.
this is a
You're
very
not
rough
trying to get
time and da da
canceled.
da da. Yeah, so I'd much rather an artist not say nothing than say something like that. But then when I look at what you're doing, you're not doing nothing. You know, you're saying buy my next album, buy my next album, buy my next album.
Yeah.
What are you talking about right now? Have you I'm not
Mm,
even saying you gotta donate the money. Have you went and talked to the family? Have you tried to contact the family and say, yo, I understand y'all might be fans of me. I just wanted to reach out and let you know da 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 da. Right? And don't nobody have to
yeah.
know about the phone call, right? Like you don't have to make the phone call public on the radio. Yo, I'm checking on the family. But in the community, I see you marching, this ain't right. This and you ain't even gotta say nothing. You could be holding a sign.
Right.
But you with us. You beside us. You
Mm,
being a real leader. That's the way I see it. And maybe it's me playing sports, like playing basketball. I used to hate it, but coaches used to yell at me. Point guards lead from the front. And I used to get mad and go, what do it matter if I'm leading? But now that I'm older, I understand like a lot of people are scared to take that first step. So if you ain't gonna take it, it ain't gonna be took. So when people looking up to
mm,
you like that, when people looking up to you like that, it's your job to take that first step and let them come with you. Y'all go
yeah.
together because it's strength in numbers. You know.
Yeah, man. However that step looks, with whether that's you having to be the first to speak out on something, or you just being the first to actually take that step and organize a march, or be at the front, what they call the front lines of it. Yeah, man.
That's
I
what's so
agree with
big
you. I
about
definitely,
Kendrick.
yeah.
It's because Kendrick
Which was
knows when to
interesting to
speak
me.
out. So it's like,
It was
yeah, like if he know when
go
to
ahead.
jump. I was just
My
saying he
bad. I
know
didn't
when
mean
to
to cut
jump.
you off,
Like
Heavy.
you good, bro. It's just Kendrick know when to jump. Like Kendrick been quiet this whole time, but then
Mm,
he jumped, and when he jumped, he full head on attack, like lion
yeah.
to gazelle mode. You know what I'm like? And now he's kind of back chilling. You know, everybody remembers like, okay, that lion's still over there though.
Right.
That was what he, but that's what the culture needed at that moment. And the baton was passed to him, so it's like, yeah, if you gonna give it to me, you don't want to see me run it. You know, like you know what happened when I run it. He ran it. You know, so now it's kind of like,
Exactly.
okay,
That's
so
that's what I'm getting at is they knew who he was. They knew, like, unless whoever actually had like the final say on selecting him didn't do their research into what Kendrick talks about in his music, you cannot act surprised that he did what he did. It was not a surprise that of him making a statement. It was, to me, it was more of like, dang, I get it. But you know what I mean? But I think yeah, we can't be surprised. So I mean, majority of his music is controversial. A lot of it, he's talking about the political injustices, talking about where he came from, and how a lot of it was not accidental. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting that they selected someone as powerful with words as him and controversial, and they said, "Yeah, we want you to go on the stage," and probably one of the most, well, not even probably, it was the most televised moment on, like, in TV history, and we want you to say something. What did what did you not expect him to say? You know what I mean? What did you expect him to talk about? Come on now. So yeah, man, it was
high
beautiful,
power.
man. Like I
Yeah,
said, the power of your voice. And yeah, it's beautiful, man. He definitely showed something that's extremely important, but I think he inspired a bunch of people. Like you said, I do think that people in those roles that have like a position of where people are looking up to you, I do think that you have a responsibility to display something that they can, one, relate to, but also see that, I mean, relate to, so they can see that whatever route they came from, wherever they are, whatever color the skin is, they have the ability to be as successful or make as big of a change as you are, So yeah, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful, and it just so happened to be through music. I know it could be through anything, multiple different forms of art. It could be through your work, through your job. I know you, man. I don't know if you would like to share a little bit. I know that you do poetry as well. Coming from that mind of a poet, um, how important do you how important do you feel like your voice is when it comes to you being a poet?
Oh, it's one of the trickiest things ever because you're responsible for everything you say and you're responsible for everything that they imply.
Hmm.
Right? So now it works both ways. So it's cool when you get something out of something I said that I didn't mean for it to go that deep, but it could, So it's like cool. But then I'm also responsible for when it goes left, right? So when you get something that makes no sense at all, and it's like, so why would you write that? I'm responsible for that too. So that's why it's so cool to hear the Kendricks, to hear the J. Coles, because they have a way with words that you can listen and they do so much at one time. So it's for if you're I call it a simplistic listener where you just hear like whatever's on the surface, you'll like them because they have enough on the surface. But then if you
Right.
like more complex lyricists, which I'm a lyricist person, I like lyricists. Um, because I like words. But if you listen to them, the way they say the word, the way they use the word, and where the word and what the word sounds like is all important. So, like at work today, I was talking to a dude about, it, and I was like, imagine using assonance, which is like the repetition of a vowel sound, right? So it'd be like hot, dot, cot, mop, right? Even though mop ends differently, it still has that ah sound, right? And like the
Yep.
way I was explaining it to him, I said, so now imagine if you write a poem or you write a line of music and it has this repetition, right? I was like, but you talk about something abusive where something keeps hitting you, right? And what do you say when you get hit? You're like, right? So it's like now there are elements to this poem or this music that you've written because now you've added onomatopoeia where I can hear you being hit, but you're also explaining to me through imagery with the story that you're telling that you're being hit, but you're also using assonance to tell me that you to the rep for the repetition. So it's like to be able to do it, one is very challenging, but two to pull it off in a way that makes sense is it's a beautiful thing. Um, so yeah, and you're responsible for all of it. So you gotta really be in. Why did you say this? Why did you say this way? Right. So like in one of my pieces I said something about Mary J. But then I said, so what's the 411? Right. So if you're a Mary J. fan, you know she has a album. What's the 411? But then if you go further, 411 is like when people want to know what's happening or what's up in the 90s, like that was
Yeah.
the thing, like what's the 411. So
Yeah.
just kind of it keep going back, it get a little bit deeper rooted, than the surface, but if you surface level you'll catch surface level. um
Mhm.
so I just hearing it is really really cool, but yes, you are responsible for everything I hear and everything I comprehend, unfortunately, as an artist.
Yeah, man.
It's
Appreciate you for
bittersweet.
sharing that, man. It sounds it sounds like you see that it is beautiful when executed, but that it can also be very hard. Well, it sounds beautiful when executed, but that it's also very hard to execute. Um,
Because
am I
there's
getting
a
that?
breathing pattern.
Am I getting that right?
Yeah, yeah, because there's a breathing pattern. So that's why, like, so when you talk about flows with all these different rappers, how come Kendrick
Yeah.
doesn't sound like Eminem, even though they're both really good at what they do? How come Cole doesn't sound
Mhm.
like Kendrick, even though they're really good at what they do? And it's your breath pattern.
Right.
So every person naturally has a pace that they talk at. Well, it's the same thing when you
Mhm.
start talking faster or poetically, right? And so what happens
Okay.
is you only have a certain amount of breath. And so it's kind of about between your emotions and your syllables, how many syllables can you fit in each breath? So some people
Gotcha.
take a deeper breath naturally before they speak, where other people are more
Mhm.
shallow, but they use less breath when they talk. So it's about, okay, even though you have this ah sound that you want to use for assonance, you also have to keep in mind your breath pattern because that's what's going to give you a rhythm of some sort that whoever is listening is kind of like right, and they can hear it, but then they also hear your story and they're like, oh, that's the part where you got hit, right? Um,
Interesting.
so
That's very interesting, man.
it's cool. It's
I'm
to
thinking
me it's
quite
very
a few
cool when
different
it's
artists right now that have some different.
so yeah. I mean, it's cool, like you said, when executed, but it is difficult to because you gotta understand you, because you can't rap like me, I can't rap like you, right? But we can always
Yeah,
do like limericks. Like everybody can write a limerick, right? But it's not the same when you go to be creative and express yourself through music or through poetic words or through writing, period. Honestly, I'm
well,
not gonna say something the same as somebody else, and somebody else not gonna say it the same as me, because we're not gonna see it the same.
yeah, yeah, man. I appreciate you sharing that though, man. And it definitely seems like you're very knowledgeable when it comes to, I mean, like spoken word altogether. And we really think about we're talking about music. That's kind of what it is. I mean, that is what it is. It is poetry, it's spoken word. You just so happen to be doing it to a beat. Um, I think, yeah, I've always been captivated by different artists that have, like you said, like their own breathing pattern, their own cadence, you know. Um, but for me, the most important thing has always been like, what are you saying, you know? Um, I also grew up dancing though, so there's certain songs that, yeah, obviously I know that it's not the 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 lyrics of a genius. Clearly, you know, clearly he's saying the same
Right.
thing over and over and over, and it's to a trap beat with some 808 drums, and it sounds good, so I'm gonna dance to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then there's times where it's like, all right, well, I want to get some insight. I want to feel intellectual. I want someone to kind of speak out what I'm feeling because I can't speak it out to the effect that I'm satisfied. So maybe if I'm listening to this, that this is gonna help. I know a lot of people do that. I do that, you know. So yeah, it's but I've always had that in kind of like the forefront of my mind is like, what are they saying? I don't like listening to songs if I'm really trying to listen to the song. I don't like wasted movement. It's kind of like, well, what do you like? You said that, but what was the purpose behind it? Like, why are you talking about this? Oh, it's is the reason as shallow as you believe that um, money is the solution to all your problems? I'm not trying to hear that because I don't agree
It's
with
not
it.
even that
Someone
for
might.
me, bro. It's it's the when you say it just for a rhyme. I hate it. Oh my gosh, I
Hmm.
hate it. I was on the block,
Yeah.
had to hit the pot. Like, bro, stop, stop, stop,
Hey,
stop.
have you
Cut
seen
production.
dude, have you seen Eminem? Eminem, he did what did he say? He was like making fun of like how rappers do that. And he did like a little rhyme and he was like lyrical miracle vigil no, what he said? Lyrical miracle no, that's what he said. He was like lyrical miracle individual criminal subliminal in your swimming pool. And it was like what but he said that because he was like that's how other rappers think that rapping is. Like, oh, let me just oh, this rhymes, let's throw it together. And it was like, dude, what did you just say? Like, you know, so no, man, it's always deeper than that. It always has to be. It just has to be. You're talking to people who either they want to understand themselves about you or they're trying to get away from themselves. They're trying to hear something to get them out of their head, you know? And if that's the case, I think it really shows how important of a job you have. Why are you reinforcing things that are gonna get people shot? Why are you reinforcing things that are gonna get people arrested or people addicted to certain things? You know, that's what you're reinforcing. That's what you're talking about. You're not talking about the fact that you're getting out of addiction. You're talking about your addiction and how you are perfectly fine with your addiction, even though your addiction has costed you family, has costed you money, life, like all these different things. Clearly, it's not working for you as much as you think it is, but you think that because it's satisfying you, that, oh, let me talk about it because this is what they want to hear. But then all these different things, these are actual people being affected by what you're saying. So, yes, I do agree. You do have a responsibility to whatever community it is. But you got to understand, there's someone watching you that is coming from a mindset of like a baby. You know what I mean? Like they see, monkey do. You know, so it really shows importance on it. Not a lot of people are, well, I say not a lot of people, but there are people who are not as mentally equipped to show like, okay, I can just listen to this, but I don't agree with it, and I'm not going to do anything that it's saying. You know what I mean? So, and we kind of talked about that a little bit, where it was like, you can kind of show me what you listen to, and I can kind of get an idea on what type of person you are. Point. That's just what it
Mm-hmm.
is. So if all you listen to is like we talked about it too about Kevin Gates when Kevin Gates was the
Yeah.
the freak that Kevin Gates is, if all you listen to is Kevin Gates, and you're like, if I try to tell you, oh, try to listen to this or this positive reinforcement music or whatever, and you're like, nah, man, it's just Kevin Gates for me. I'm like, I feel like I understand at least one aspect of you. Now, do I know you as a person? No, because just because what you listen to this one guy, that doesn't mean that's who you are. But that does tell me something about yourself, and either one, like you agree with at least one thing that he said. And if I know what Kevin Gates is talking about, the chance that it was something good is pretty low. So, yeah, man, it's interesting, man.
Everybody who listens to the same artist have some quality that's similar, which is why they like the same artist. There's some,
Right.
and that's what I'm saying. As a writer, the way you say stuff makes a difference, right? So if I
Hmm.
say I was heartbroken, okay, right? But if I said you broke my heart, that's how it unfolded. Right now, I've added a sense of imagery. I said the exact same thing though, right? In
Yeah.
context, it's the
Yeah.
same event happening, but it's the way you say it,
Right.
and so it's the same with that. How are you saying stuff, right? Am I
Hmm.
being dirty minded by listening to it, or are you just saying it so plain as day? Like I don't have any other direction to go, right? And is that all
Exactly.
you talk about? Is that one or two songs, or is this your whole album?
Yeah.
All of that makes a difference. And what
Hmm.
type, the pace of music, is
Hmm.
everything you listen to up tempo? Is it really really fast? Because then you probably a fast thinker. You probably have a lot of like rapidly changing thoughts going on. Um, Cause
Yeah.
I don't know about you,
You
but I know
are.
it's like it's hard for me to focus if the music is da 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 da. Like, okay, yeah, like I
Yeah.
had this thought now, it's that thought now, but I might be feeling like yelling, and I can't really yell at the moment. But this, like you said, this music is yelling for me right now. Or I might
Right.
listen to classical music where it's, oh, listen to the story this that violin is telling, or something like that.
Yeah. 100%. And you kind of brought up something. I mean, so from a J. Cole fan, I'm sure you can tell me the name of the song. I'm spacing right now on the name of it. But J. Cole, it was my first time. She was in my
Wet
math
dreams,
class. What song was that?
wet dreams,
What? All right. Well, I mean, the name of the song is already what it's probably,
facts.
so you kind of get an idea of what it is. But then the song, you listen to the song, he's not just talking about just having, like having sex with a
Intercourse.
woman.
Correct.
He's talking about the mental, like what you're thinking. He's talking about what people see, people watch when it comes to like, oh, this is your first time, so you feel like it's supposed to go. You feel like your first time is supposed to go like how you saw it on TV or saw it
Correct.
in a video you probably shouldn't have been watching. But that's what he
Teacher,
saw. So
please
that's what
don't
it
make
was
me
the most
stand up.
right. It was
Yeah,
real,
like,
right? It was real. He was also talking about a young kid in high school who's going through all the different hormone changes that someone goes through when they're going through puberty. You know what I mean? So it
mm-hmm.
was, but it wasn't. See, but you know that because of the way he said it. He wasn't just like, oh yeah, it was my first time. I had her and I did what I had to. You know what I mean? Like I took
Yeah.
care of it. Like it wasn't so like it wasn't so like
Brute.
man, just masculine energy, nothing. Like it was
It was
just
real.
real. It
It
was
was
talking
real.
about all the processes. It was real, dude. And that's why I love him.
Yeah.
That's why I love him. So yeah,
And that's why the
that's the
album
biggest like
tipped off the
example of
way it
kind of what
did.
you just said.
That's why the album tipped off
Right.
the way it did. Cause that the way he
100%.
and that's another thing is the way he wrote it as a poet. Of course, I'm in high school writing at the time. So as a poet, I hear it
Yeah.
and I hear the way he tied the chorus to the last verse. Right? Right. Right before she flinched and grabbed it. Right. And then it's like back to the chorus. Because before that the chorus kinda makes sense, but like it's like okay. But the way he walked you through the story, and he had already told you how it
Right.
ended in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like to think that all the way
Yeah.
through and actually start from the end and end up at the beginning, that was crazy work to me. Um, so yeah, that and then
Yeah,
the
man.
song at the time is literally what guys feel like. Man, I know she want this and she thinking this and da 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 and like nobody
Right.
wants this. Nobody. It's nerve wracking a
The
little bit,
biggest
but
thing
you
from
trying to
that,
play it cool.
dude, the biggest thing from that I took was kind of just like, so he said that he watched the video just to see if he's doing it right.
Correct.
And the day came, and it came down to it that it had been, it was both of their first times. Um, so it was nothing like what he saw. Nothing. But we
Correct.
tend to, we're just gonna have our perception of things, and that's gonna be like, oh, well, it's supposed to go like that. Now, if you didn't learn it from the J. Cole song, I will be the one to tell you that it is not that what you see on a video where are two people who are playing a part and they're acting. It's not gonna be like that. Okay, but listen, um, but still, it was real because he was like, this is what people go to. He's not the first person to go through that. But another situation, I know we talked. That's J. Cole's side. There was a song from Kendrick Lamar where he had talked about how, like the first time that he had ever done a drug for him, it was to smoke weed. The first time, very first time he smoked weed, it was laced, and he went and he was like had him almost like foaming out of the mouth. That was real because like a lot of people are like, all right, well, let me just do it for the first, let me do it my first time, and they start picking up. They decide, oh, well, let me just get it from this guy, and they don't even know who that guy is. They don't know, you know what I mean? They don't really have any connection with them. Just the fact that that person has what they need. All of a sudden they do it, and now they're foaming at the mouth as well. So and about him losing his job, Kendrick Lamar talked about he picked up a job, but then he was influenced by all of his friends to stage a robbery, and he got fired 2 weeks in. Um, these are real things, and he was talking about he always felt like he was like good kid, Mad City. He felt like he was a good kid, but almost like the forces of what was around him was keeping him held down. The forces of what was around him were basically keeping him from succeeding, from being a good kid. That's what I'm talking about. There's levels to it. It's not just that like because he could have straight up been like, yeah, man, I love drugs. What? Why would you love drugs? You nearly died the first time you did a drug. Same thing with J. Cole. It's like, yeah, man, have sex with everyone. And it's like, well, it doesn't go anything like I saw on the internet. So something's telling me that there's some consequences to my actions. You know what I mean? So it causes you to think. It's not just, oh, I read a story and that was it. It makes you, what you're listening to makes you reflect. So, okay, I
They
like this. I
storytellers,
agree with
but they
that.
do it so
What
beautifully it
consequences
make
can
you
I
want to
have?
hear it again.
Exactly. Exactly, man.
And that's why they artists. That's why it's beautiful. That's why it's beautiful. Uh
But yeah, man. So I appreciate everyone who listened to this video. I love music. Law loves music,
a
and
lot.
there was there was definitely some musical portrayals recently that shows that it's bigger than a performance. What are you saying? And so thank you guys for joining
And
us.
that
This
your
is a
words can
conversation we
be
would have
bigger
had
than words. Crazy.
100%. 100%. And it's kind of like what you put out into the world. Always be careful what you put out into the world. So if it's not what you mean, maybe rethink rethink what you say. So with that,
Be
man,
deliberate.
thank you guys for watching the video. We love you guys. Please, if you like the video, please make sure to leave a like, comment below. Again, comment, please. We would love to hear from you, especially about this topic. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna challenge you guys: J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar. The
Oh,
typical
that ain't
competition.
fair right now, though, and you know that. You know it ain't fair right
Oh
now.
yeah.
Kendrick just
No,
popped
no, it's
off
fair.
off the
It's
Super Bowl.
fair. It's
No,
fair.
no, no.
You can't be lopsided. You need to pick a side. Pick a side right now. So yeah, no, go ahead and do
Uh,
that for me. J. Cole, leave a comment with J.
just
Cole
remember, it's
or
still
Kendrick
early in the
Lamar.
year, guys. When you vote, when you get to making your comments, remember the year's still young. We're only in February, guys. But all
Hey,
right,
both of these artists, both of these artists have enough of a discography for you to go back and make a very well formulated and knowledgeable decision. So go ahead and make your decision. Type it below. I would love to argue. So with that, we'll catch you guys next
time's ticking.
Thursday. Peace. Love y'all.